morning. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Keith Tebow from FRC Media. Time for our weekly chat with the mayor of Fall River, Mayor Paul Coogan. Mayor, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Keith. How about you?
I am doing well. First of all, a belated happy birthday. Your birthday was Monday. It's on Valentine's Day. And I actually want to ask you, when some people have birthdays on holidays, I know some people who have birthdays on Christmas, they kind of get shortchanged on gifts because there's a dual event. Did that happen to you? Has that happened to you in terms of, getting credit for birthday and Valentine's Day?
Well, I think it actually shortchanges my wife because I tell her not to get me anything for not to get me anything for my birthday, and I won't get her anything for Valentine's Day. So it works out perfect. It's a real money-saving event in the Coogan household, so I'm not disappointed. But it's just I think that's why I'm so lovable, Keith, because of my Valentine's Day birthday.
There you go. And you know what? I guess you know nothing else, right? People who have Christmas birthdays, they don't know anything else from having their birthday on Christmas and missing out. So I guess that what it is what it is.
I
All
had
right, I want to
nothing to
get
do with it.
that's that's right. Wasn't your fault.
No.
I want to start with a couple of school issues. Actually, some positive news. The school committee this week, of course, there's been some positive news in terms of COVID across the state, around the country, in terms of cases really going down. Last week, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education announced that the state mask mandate in schools will be lifted on February 28th. Although giving local communities the option to make an extension, the school committee on Monday voted to extend the mandate for another 2 weeks until March 14th. Do you feel that was the right thing to do, considering school vacation is next week and students may not be around and maybe in close contact with other people?
Well, I think that was the driving force behind extending it 2 weeks. I ended it in government center. It's about the children, and again, if they go traveling and they're in Florida or they're in Arizona and they bring it back, that was the concerns that drove it to the 14th. We're going to be keeping a close eye on the numbers, and if the trends continue, hopefully we're working our way out of this, and it may even end sooner. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I had a chance to speak with the superintendent yesterday on this, and I had one of my questions to her was, how important is it going to be to help in the recovery in terms of the learning loss, right? This will be another step in being back to normal in schools, and hopefully that'll help as well, right?
Yeah, and it's probably taken a full year to transition. I was walking around Doran Elementary School this morning and talking to the principal, and I think that fall back in school in September was very, very rocky. The kids had all kinds of social emotional issues adjusting. Some kids absolutely did fine, but other kids needed more supports. And he described the school now as transitioning back to normal. Attendance is back where it should be. They've noticed a decline in conduct issues, and that's through the work of the people that are in these schools and the administration putting a focus on social emotional learning and addressing the needs of these kids to try to coach them back to what we all call a normal school day. But we're working towards it, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah. Also, at the school committee meeting on Monday, the committee voted to remove the interim tag from Superintendent Maria Ponce. She is now the full superintendent of schools. Talk about the job she has done over the last 6 months and why the committee voted to instill that vote of confidence in her.
Obviously, Maria is a lifelong Fall River educator, whether it's private or public. She's been around for a long time, and she has experience at every grade level. She does a great job of comforting people and working with our young staff to try to teach them the proper ways to deliver education to our kids. And again, she's been in all the buildings. She's got a good team there. She's very, very aware of what's going on in the city of Fall River. She's very, very aware of what's going on in the state of Massachusetts. And she works well with others. I don't think we're going to have obviously, I'm not going back to the old superintendent as any kind of a measuring stick, but she should, just by the way she respectfully deals with adults and children and parents, she brings those strengths to the table, and she's done a great job with the committee in an interim role, and it was unanimous. I think everybody felt the same way. She gets back to people. She follows through, and her first concern is the kids, and that's what we're looking for.
Is it also important to create some stability, right, in the school department? Obviously, with the previous superintendent, there were some issues there, and with someone being interim and potentially having a search, which didn't happen for superintendent, is it important to bring that stability back into that department?
Right. I mean, another search is, more upheaval, and I think from her experience and what she showed us in her time on the job, she's the person to steady the ship and forward right now and move the district forward.
Yeah. I want to shift gears to a project that we've spoken about in the past, but really haven't gotten an update. So I want to ask you about the update. That is the Bank Street Armory. The property was forwarded to the Redevelopment Authority, which is in the process of negotiating with an individual to turn that space potentially into an event center. Give us an update on what's happening with that.
All right. So when we initially sold the building or signed the purchase and sale to sell the building to the developer, the city council, in its wisdom, put in some series of timelines that they wanted the developer to meet. The developer, obviously, we went full bore into COVID. We now have supply chain issues. We now have subcontractor issues, and his concern is that if he's, for example, under those timelines, told that he has to have the job completed by X date, and his work may be being completed, but he brings in a subcontractor to do an elevator or something, and the elevator company says, I can't get to that till X plus plus plus, then he's going to be off the timeline and he has the potential to lose the building. And those are the things we're working on adjusting in the P&S right now. He's still on board. He's still going forward, and we just have to do a little more work and get back in front of the council and explain to them what we're doing, and we want to get that done. But directly across the street is a spectacular building nearing completion. There's already tenants in the old BCC. I walked around there Saturday with my wife a little bit, and it really is coming together very, very quickly. It's going to be a real show place and part of our rehabilitation program we got going strong in downtown Florida.
And there's actually, a lot of plans for, more market rate housing in some of the old buildings, and that's a good sign to see that development has continued despite COVID. So that's actually very good as well, right? Yeah.
Kudos to Alan McCumber for driving that bus, because he's really, I mean, I don't know if they're going to have an open house as a traditional public building, but if people could see what those apartments look like and what's going on in that building, they'd be completely impressed.
Yeah. Finally, I want to go back to an event that happened last night. We've talked about the fire at 140 Irving Street during the blizzard. Last night, you took part in a ceremony with City Council to recognize those firefighters that really worked above and beyond in that fire. And, it's another indication of, we know, a lot of the work that the fire and police department do on a day-to-day basis, goes unknown. It's just part of the job. But it really comes to light the experience that they have when there's an event like that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that was tremendous teamwork across all of our public safety agencies, police, fire, EMS, emergency medical, and they literally went down there. And as I said last night, they weren't just fighting a fire, they were fighting a snowstorm. They were fighting flooding. They were fighting wind. They were fighting double parked cars, and they got through it. And they did lose obviously they lost the original house, but the work they did to save the neighborhood was just breathtaking. And I got to tip my hat to them again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mayor Coogan, as always, enjoy your birthday week, and we'll talk again next Wednesday. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, Keith. Have a nice day.
All right. You too. Thanks.